Welcome to the Warley Model Railway Club virtual event, featuring club life, the exhibition and the exhibitors. We hope you enjoy this presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Hornby Magazine section of the Warley Virtual Model Railway Exhibition. You've joined myself, Mike and Richard here in the Hornby Magazine workshop with our layout Topley Dale.
Unfortunately we can't attend the Warley exhibition this year, however we can bring you this virtual video.
Yes, and here at Hornby Magazine it's been, well, business as usual, isn't it?
It has.
Been busy as ever, creating content, making magazines and of course our annual yearbook, which normally goes on sale at the Warley show. And you'll be pleased to know that product's still available this year just as it would be. Our 2021 yearbook is now on sale, as well as our monthly magazine which goes on sale on the first Thursday of every month. You can find all our latest magazines, our yearbook and our latest subscription offers at shop.keypublishing.com. Now what we thought we'd do today is give you a little look around Topley Dale, show you some of the latest things we've been doing with the layout, show you some of the latest stock we've finished as well for features in the magazine, and catch up with a few other things along the way.
Yeah, just like at a real show, you'd come and see on our stand all the little exhibition layouts we take. So let's go, let's have a tour of Topley Dale.
Yeah, which if you went to the Warley show a few years ago, you'll notice that Topley Dale's probably quite a bit different when you last saw it. So. Right, on with the tour.
So this is Topley Dale, the Hornby Magazine main test track for, well, new locos, rolling stock, etc. when the magazine requires.
Yes, right. So Topley Dale, obviously, it's double O gauge. So this is it's the most used test track of our many. We've also got test tracks for O gauge and N gauge as well, so you can cover all scales and gauges, and 009 as well.
Yeah,
can't
absolutely.
forget little Wardle Bay, can we? So Topley Dale is now 16 foot long and 10 foot wide. We've got a double track main line that runs around the full circuit of the layout, and it's got a secondary looped line which has got the double track in front of a 10 track storage yard, which is just over the back behind the little count panel there. So it's quite a big layout now. It was originally 11 foot long and 10 foot wide, so just behind where Richard is, that bridge was a little bit further forward, and then the line used to duck back round and it came across at an angle over here. So that gives us a good opportunity to test locos in lots of different scenarios. We've got different types of track work, so curved points, straight points, medium radius, large radius, crossings as well, so loads of opportunities to test rolling stock in here.
It's even uneven in some places as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of little life added bumps in it. So basically the railway through the bridge here has actually got a little bit of a dip as it comes into it as well, which does kind of provide a little bit of an opportunity just to test how locos respond to those kind of things as well. It's kind of a typical thing you might find happens on a home layout from time to time. You know, it's this part of the layout, sort of there to there, is now 8 years old. So,
And to be fair, when you're testing new rolling stock, as we do as press, you want to give it a thorough test, don't you?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And well, talking of thorough and testing, we've also got the opportunity to test with both analog and digital control as well, so we can swap over between the two control systems and layouts. Very quick, simple process to do, and that's the same with all our layouts. We can always plug in a different type of control system between the two in order to operate the trains.
So, for the people at home, obviously you've got the 00 on top, but there are layouts further down.
There are, yes. So you probably noticed in the background there's the middle level here. There is another level.
There are 3 levels to this.
There are 3 levels to this. It's a multi-tiered layout. So we've got the O gauge test track in the middle, which is the same footprint as Topley Dale, so it's 16 foot long, 10 foot wide. Again, double track main line on that, and it's been designed again to test ready to run O gauge products. So it started off with, basically I'd bought a circuit of picosecond radius track. And I used to have that laid out on the office floor from time to time when I needed it. Fortunately, it was a nice, smooth, clean floor. But it came to the point where we really needed something permanent to test O gauge. There was that massive rise in ready to run O gauge. So in 2015, I started building this section underneath. Now, originally, it was longer than Topley Dale because, like I said before, the original Topley Dale was 11 foot long. So there was an extra 5 feet of this sticking out one end of it. So it made it interesting to build and work on. And originally the O gauge was a lot lower as well. So originally the O gauge was only 26 inches off the ground, and Topley Dale was the height of the O gauge. Whereas you probably notice now that the layout is slightly higher. So Topley Dale is now 1.4 metres off the ground, and the O gauge test track is 1 metre off the ground.
So to be fair, it's an absolute great height.
It is.
I
Yeah,
love it. It's high level.
It's a really nice height for it to be at. So it can be a bit challenging sometimes when you're cleaning some of the bits of track in the back corners or trying to do the modelling in the far corners and things, but yeah, it's still a worthwhile project.
So going back to the O gauge test track, it doesn't have a name yet.
It doesn't know. It's never really had a name. I've never really wanted to name it, to be honest. It's always just been the O gauge test track.
Although I think being underneath Topley Dale, surely it's got to be Middley Dale as the middle layout in this 3.
Maybe. I could possibly persuade on that. But, it used to be known just as Project O, actually.
Project O.
That was its original name, yeah.
That's original.
Yes. It says what it is.
Yeah. So if we go down even further,
Yep.
the 3rd layout in this mix.
Yeah, there is a 3rd layout in this stack. So right down at the ground level, there is the storage yards and return loop for my O gauge garden railway as well. So that actually goes out through 2 holes in the wall, which I chiseled out through my workshop, for the garden railway to exit out into the garden, and it then does a 300 foot long circuit around the garden and comes back. So it's quite a big undertaking to build all that. It's now all working, which is good, but a lot of landscaping. It's one of the things you take for granted when you're making model railways at home, that you can take a tree out of a box and it's the height you want it to be, whereas when you're doing real landscaping outside, it takes a long time for things to grow to the height you want them to be. I'm still watching and waiting my buckters grow, a couple of inches every year.
So right, should we bring the camera inside and we'll give you a closer look at some of the details?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first section of the layout that's here is all the station of Topley Dale, and it's built on a curve. We've got 2 platform faces, one for each of the main running lines, and then there's a goods loop that runs behind it as well. What I've tried to do here is use as many out-of-the-box or readily available kits as possible to build the station. So you'll probably recognise the Scaledale dent-based station buildings. It's also got one of the classic dapple footbridges on there as well. And there's other Scaledale items on there too. We've also got ratio platform fencing from the Midland region style, whilst the lamps which all work, they're all from DCC Concepts. I've also added lighting to the station buildings as well. That's been done with the Woodland Scenic Just Plug system, while the next thing that I want to make operational is going to be the Dapple water crane. The one that's there at the moment is one of the static versions. So the station, it keeps being modified and upgraded, so it's had a couple of life extension programs added to it. So the most recent one has been to resurface all the platforms. So I think the original surface actually was looking a little bit tired, so that's all been scraped away and then repainted with a brand new set of paint to make it look fresh and new once more. All the scenery around the station has also been recently refreshed as well, and that's all got fresh static grass as well to bring it back to life. Let's go to a load of the scale scenics trees from Hornby as well. So it's quite a busy little area around here. A few more plans for the future. I've just seen a new product from Scale Model Scenery I'd like to use to replace the fencing on here. I'll give that another little upgrade as well. And as usual, the rest of it is really maintenance. So. Okay, so the next section of Topley Dale focuses on the main straight that comes down through the 3-arch bridge, and it passes the goods yard that's here as well. Like I said, the original layout ended at this baseboard joint here, just where the Class 24 is there, and then it used to swing round, and you can just see the shape of the curve there from one of the sidings in the goods yard. Beyond that, that's all new that's been built down that end of the layout to extend it to 16 foot, and it gives us a nice run through. We've got options to change over the points to change tracks with a crossover. We've got goods loops on either side as well. Just to make it interesting operationally as well, the goods loop on the inner circuit can only be accessed from the diversion route. So if you're coming around from the storage yard, you can't actually get into that goods loop. So you'd have to come around via this diversion route to link into there. But it does also have options for getting out of it as well. So you could have a short train parked in the line behind the platform and use the crossover here to overtake something there as well. So lots of nice little operational things there. Also gives the opportunity to run round trains as well when we need to from time to time, which is quite a nice part of the track plan. So this area is to all intents and purposes pretty much finished at the moment. We've got a few little ideas for the future and revolving around some lighting projects, but it does what it does, and it's a really popular scene that we use and you'll probably regularly see on our YouTube channel.
Right, so this is our newest section. As you can see, it's a quarry scene and we feature a Walther's kit, and in essence it's a 3-siding quarry scene with an engine shed siding as well, not to mention a head shunt. So as you can see, the diversion route which goes under this new bridge actually joins the 2 main lines which go around the rest of the layout. Now, hidden behind this white board is a 10-lane storage yard, which is where we keep most of our stock that we're using for the current filming projects or testing projects that we actually do. Now, the area behind me, that's the bit we'll be working on next and what you'll be able to see in future videos on our YouTube channel and our monthly Hornby Magazine show. So, I think it's time we move on to the next bit.
So layout of this size requires some controlling, and we've got quite a selection of devices here in which to operate layout with. Now, like I mentioned, we can operate with either DCC or analog control. So the main DCC system we use is the Gagemaster Projector system, and handily, this one is one of its wireless controllers as well, which means once it's fully charged, we can walk around the layout wherever we need to be. If we're out filming on the other side of the layout, we don't have to run in and out to go and operate controls and things, which is all really good. In addition to the Gagemaster Prodigy, we've also got the Gagemaster Analog Controller, which we use to do the analog testing with. That's for the 00 gauge layout. Next to that, I've got a Helsman Model Rail high power controller to operate the O gauge section for analog testing as well. And then next to that, I've got the DCC Concepts Cobalt power supply, which operates the lights on the station as well. While the final box just here is the transformer to power the Gagemaster Model W analog controller. So as you can see, we've got lots of different things plugged in there, and there's always banks of different power supplies connected to the layout to do different things. So like I said, we need to use all those things to test the models. Keeps us on our toes.
So we thought we'd try something different for this section. Of course, we have a lot of YouTube videos on our own channel, and we get a lot of questions that way. So we thought we'd answer a few of them.
So a regular question we get is about N-Gage actually. We're often asked why we don't cover more N-Gage in the magazine. Well, we do cover N-Gage. It's just that N-Gage hasn't had quite so much going off as late, so we haven't had so many review samples in and things, but we are now starting to see more of that scale coming in for review, and you'll see in our latest issue we've got quite a number of, we've got 3 brand new products in for N-Gage, and we've got plenty of plans for N-Gage layout features for the future. We've had a couple of N-Gage layouts in this year as well. We've had Neely, which is a really quite an impressively well done N-Gage layout. We've also had Barnaby as well from the Immingham Museum as well. So N-Gage is always on our radar. It's just there's lots of other things that take our interest as well.
And I do think, I suppose it can be in the shadow a bit of 00 because there's more of it.
Yeah, well, 00 is always going to be the core of what Hornby Magazine does. That's the centre of what we do. But we are still always looking to cover O gauge, 009, 016.5 7mm narrow gauge scale, and N gauge of course as well. And we do also have layouts in all those scales as well, apart from 016.5 at the minute. We have got layouts available, operational and working as part of the magazine fleet for 00 gauge, O gauge, N gauge and 009.
So one question we get asked a lot is why don't we have any crews in the steam engines? Mike, why don't you have any crews in your steam engines?
I do have crews in my steam engines, I can see one just here. But I don't have crews in every locomotive we feature in every video for the Hornby Magazine channel. And one of the reasons for that is that not all of the models are ours at the end of the day. They are review samples, they don't always stay the course in the office. And sometimes in the timescale we have available to create all the content we do for the magazine, we don't have the time to create a crew for them as well. So you will see more crews appearing in locos. I mean, for example, with the sound fitting projects we've been doing recently, with each one of those, we've been trying to make sure we get a crew fitted to the loco each time as well. It's like the Britannia and the Q6 we've done recently. They both have crews fitted as well. So we are aware of the requirement for crews, but you don't have to worry. Whenever there is a locomotive being driven, there's always a one-to-one crew here to make sure it doesn't go out of control. One of the questions we're often asked as well is about the relationship between Hornby and Hornby Magazine as well. Now, Hornby Magazine is published by Key Publishing, and we're independent of Hornby, but we have a really strong working relationship with Hornby to obviously to bring the latest news on their products and showcase their latest models for the review section. But also, as a magazine, we're open to all manufacturers, all scales, all gauges, all eras. It's very much an all-encompassing product to make sure we deliver a magazine that's interesting for everyone. So, you'll like this one, Richard. Why can no one understand what I'm saying on videos?
Oh, tell me about it. We had so much trouble with you and microphones. For whatever reason, we would use the same microphones, myself, Mark Chivers, and obviously you, but you just don't come up in the audio. It was a real phenomenon we faced for a long while, actually.
I'm just inaudible.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if they can hear you now. It was such an issue, but again, almost a random one.
Yeah. But fixed now, hopefully.
Because believe me, he's not quite in person.
No, always on it.
Yeah. But hopefully we've got to the bottom of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
We hope.
Next problem, please.
If not, I will translate what he's saying. Another question we've been asked is who does the most modelling of the three of us in the editorial team? Now, I'm quite happy to say I'm very happy behind the camera and letting others get on with the modelling. But
Well, you definitely left me to it the other day when I came around and fixed the electrics on Baronthorpe.
absolutely, yeah.
The dog was helping more than you were then, so
I don't touch electrics.
I noticed.
They're quite literally beneath me.
Well, I think we all put our hand into the modelling. It does seem at the moment that I'm doing quite a bit. So, but at the end of the day, I love it. I enjoy doing all that. So it's great to be able to put things together and develop scenes and develop models. It's always the fun part of the hobby. So
You say that, you see Mark does put together some nice dioramas.
he does, yeah. Mark's good at his dioramas, and actually we do miss Mark in the office sometimes because obviously this year we've not been able to work together quite as much as we have in the past. And Mark's got this brilliant little eye for adding the little details to the layout. It's a really useful part of our skill set. So we do all work together quite nicely with different areas where we have specialisms. So Rich is very good at holding a camera.
And testing the trains.
Testing.
Love testing the trains,
Yes. Okay. Playing with the trains all the time. Can't leave them alone for 5 minutes in the workshop because if I walk out the door, I'll come back in and half the drawers have been entered onto the layout.
Got to make sure they work.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Then you'll give me a list of logos that don't work for me to go and fix.
Well, they're usually, when I say don't work, I normally mean they've not been SAM fitted yet, they've not got the smoke generator yet.
Well, this is it.
So, yeah,
Cause
perfectly fine locos get put on that list.
But Richard's not happy if they've not got active drive,
Yep.
a smoke generator, a full suite of sound, and preferably firebox flicker as well.
Absolutely.
Or a crew, don't forget the crew. If you could build any layout, how big would it be? Where would it be set? And in what scale would you build it?
So if I start then, for me personally, I would really, it changes, but I would really fancy currently building a HOM Glacier Express layout.
So that's really tempting.
Right, next layout.
Yeah,
Done.
next layout. I've got. You're gonna have a fight on your hands though.
Why?
Well, one of the layouts I've always wanted to build, but probably never will build actually, is I'd like to do a East German layout in the sort of 60s and 70s when you still had all the steam locomotives are still working every day, but you still have some of the nice interesting hydraulics as well starting to come into traffic. Really interesting time over in that part of the world as well. I've always had a fascination with East German railways, and you could also work in some of their meter gauge, narrow gauge as well. And so another European connection there. But I think if I was actually going to build something though, it wouldn't be that at the minute. I think if I was going to build something brand new right now, and I had unlimited space and unlimited everything, yeah, it'd definitely be O-gauge. And I'd actually stick with the Western region theme that I've done for the Garden Railway, but I'd do something with a proper full-size station with some really nice operation in it as well.
Well, you see, I suppose everyone wants to go bigger, but I don't necessarily. I think you get to a size, especially when because I film a lot of layouts. Something like this is quite good. Anything when you start getting bigger, you have to wait so long for a train to come round.
See, I reckon with O-gauge for what I'd got in mind, I reckon I could do it comfortably in 60 foot. That'd just about do.
Is that it?
Yeah, that'd it. That'd just about do.
Well, that's not happening, so we'll
No.
stick to the Swiss one.
Well, that's kind of why I went out in the garden with the O-gauge, because I knew I'd never have a space big enough for O-gauge indoors.
Down the street.
Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoyed this little look at Topley Dale. Of course, if you want to see more from Topley Dale, the O-gauge test track, and of course anything pretty much that we do here in the workshop, then don't forget to check out more on our YouTube channel.
You can also log into our new website, which is keymodelworld.com, where even beyond what there is on YouTube, there is even more content there as well. And lots of special videos and features as well for people to read and enjoy.
Thank you for watching this Warley virtual event presentation. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. We hope to see you when we are back at the NEC on the 27th and 28th of November 2021.